amazing.
Welcome to the live chat. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Stop saying something important down there. I need a significantly larger phone. Invite blah blah blah. I don't care. I'm not inviting anyone. I invited Zoe.
I'm here. Hi.
She made it. Hi guys. We're here to talk about A Court of Frost and Starlight. And also do some crafting because that's basically the theme of the book. Trauma and crafting. Is this your Egypt book for your...
Mm-hmm. I was just looking at the dates.
Ooh. I've got
It's from
a
Whitman
diamond painting I'm working on. Like 80% done. We'll see if I finish today. Probably not.
Your girl's going to therapy because she's mentally ill.
I didn't know it was going to take quite that turn before I started celebrating.
Celebrate! Yay! Mental illness! But my therapist is doing this thing where you like junk like photo visualize with journals. So she goes in like thrifts old books to turn into your journal.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna be decorating my book for that. But yeah, it's from Whitman Air Force Base too, which is where Ashley is.
Interesting.
Jonathan. That's weird. Messages.
Maybe she sent it down to your therapist.
She's like, here.
Zoe needs this.
Get this bitch medicated now. My new favorite vocal stem right now is the little cat that's trying to eat its food on TikTok, and it goes wee 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 wee. And then Brittany Broski in not the last episode she posted, but the one before that, she drank like a crap ton of caffeine that day, and she's like, okay, podcast is starting in 3, 2, 1, and she's like, oh, like it is operatic singing, Percocet, Molly Percocet, Percocet, Molly Percocet. And I was listening to it on full blast in my office as I'm working today, and all you hear is Percocet.
Gotta go get the door.
She's a chick, never she's a bitch. Oh, it was bad, Tori. But hey, guys, we're gonna be talking about a book today. Maybe we'll see. As a reminder, we are filming in 2 places, on TikTok and then on YouTube. So if you see us looking multiple places, that is why. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. I'm having a wonderful day. Lots of running around today. But yeah, it's gonna be a good day. But yeah, I bet you would enjoy that, Tori.
I did enjoy that. That was a fun story.
And then right after, I was scrolling through TikTok, and the scroll was like, my professor asked me what my favorite podcast is, and then decided to put it on in the class. And it was the Brittany Broski episode that I was just talking about. And so you hear a dead silent classroom, and all you hear is, Percocet! Molly Percocet! And like, it's dead silent, and the girl's just like laughing and like trying to hide it. And I was like, I get it. Because as soon as it started blaring in my office, I was like, oh God, no! Like the Michael Scott, no, dear God, no!
Zoe, what do you think of A Court of Frost and Starlight?
So
strong opinions, I see. You loved it so much.
I don't, like, I think when it's kind of sad because rereading this book series makes me hate it because I'm having to like go through, not hate it, but just like hate the
I don't hate it,
characters.
but it's like I'm much more critical of it now.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
And it's like, why did I think this was acceptable? Like,
yeah.
Why was I like, oh my gosh, Reese is such a good guy?
Yeah, like I know I've said this a few times, but it's like the first time I read this series, it's like I did not have beef with Reese up until like Nesta's book, and then it's just like, oh, this guy is a real piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
But now going back and reading it the second time, it's like,
the entire time.
Yeah. And all the signs were there, and I was just like having a silly little time and didn't notice it.
And it's not like we read them back in the day. We read
it's
them
like
at here with work.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just. I get the point of it, but I'm also like, you could have just put that on at the end of the other book, like just added it in somewhere. Or
I don't know. Book 3 was real wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong though.
Yeah, or like add it on. I don't know. I just feel like you either need to like make it bigger or just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what did you think?
I enjoyed it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of along the lines of what you're saying, it's like it didn't feel entirely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could have been either longer, like let's actually get into this, because it like kind of sets up this idea. Like the premise of the book is it's like we're having a moment to breathe between all the action of the last book and the next book, and it's like we're assessing the trauma that has occurred, and it's like we're pretending it's about healing, but we don't actually do any healing. We just say we're gonna get pregnant and have Christmas.
It just felt like a very missed point.
It's like Farrah doesn't actually address any of her own issues, she just paints a lot and then dives headfirst into a charity about painting.
Yep.
So it's like, I feel like if the point was to be like taking a moment to process and heal from the trauma, we should have done more of the processing and the healing.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I'm sorry, I was like, when is this National Geographic from? 1 second, let me figure it. 1994. There's just a little child who is apparently homeless that they took a picture of for this. Just chilling.
That's a choice.
Yep. Wonderful. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there are so many, and that's why, I'm saying, like, this book, I felt like was just like a little bit of a money
like a
grab
money grab
almost, because it was like, oh, okay, like it's kind of nice to like not see them in like total crisis mode all the time, but at the same time, when the point of your book is about being healing and like getting insight, I feel like the point was missed with it, because it's just like you make me angry more than anything. Why are they up there?
I don't know.
They look so scary.
I printed out my kind of stream of consciousness notes.
That's a horse. Just in the house.
I want to live wherever that is with horses in the house.
Ireland, apparently.
Fine,
like this whole
go.
issue is about Ireland, but it's just because I was like, ooh, surely there'll be pretty pictures in here where I can cut out. Interesting. Go for it. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting there. Okay. What did you think? I talked about this on TikTok a little bit. And reposted elsewhere, so YouTube has seen it as well. Farrah talks about, at one point, how she and Reese have these weekly meetings that are just like them holding court up at the House of Wind, where the citizens of Valoris can come and talk about anything from a broken streetlight to international trade, and it's like they personally respond to every request and blah 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 blah. But it's up at the House of Wind.
Yeah, there's
so
like
they have to go 10,000 steps.
Yeah. So that in and of itself, I feel like is inaccessible for a lot of people because I mean, the majority of the people do not have wings.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to fly up there. I feel like there are more accessible places to do that, and it's very irritating that.
It's like, I think it's intended to be this moment of like, wow, they're so connected to the people, but it just, like I don't know. I don't know how much trust to put in Sarah J. Maas, because it's like, was it supposed to be a wow, they're so accessible and she genuinely didn't think of this? Or is it supposed to be a larger metaphor about how inaccessible the government is? Yeah.
Like you can...
How smart are we, Sarah?
I think we're smarter than Sarah. Because we find her plot holes. Hire us, Sarah! But
we'll just help you.
And I think it's even more irritating because maybe Reese wouldn't see that as a thing, but Feyre should be able to because she was a person who was shunned and like wasn't able to speak for herself, and like I feel like that's something I really struggle with the series reading back on it, because like yes, she has experienced lots of trauma and stuff like that, but I feel like there are so many points where she's presented with an issue of where she should be able to have like a massive amount of empathy and understanding for an individual or a situation, because she herself has probably faced it, or you know what I mean, and it's just, oh, but I'm the high lady now, like, you know what I mean, it's super frustrating. So I don't know, and then like Reese says throughout this entire series, oh, we're equals, but then like with things like that, I don't know.
It's like, but are you though?
So yeah, I think it's, she would probably say it's a larger metaphor, but I don't think that was her idea.
Yeah,
she probably saw it. Yes,
she was just like, yeah, the House of Wind is their official residence, so it's gonna be there. Stairs be damned. And it's just like, how, like the thing where they're like, oh, we respond to every person. How many people are actually going? Like,
they make him terrifying. I mean, I know that the majority of the people in Valaris see that softer side of him, but still, it was like this. You're the most powerful, most like dangerous High Lord that's ever been ever.
Yeah.
Are you really approachable, sir?
Yeah.
Do you... Not the point. This National Geographic is kind of... They have a whole section on fantasy coffins of Ghana, and that is a coffin.
Wow.
And then, as are these. I want to be buried in...
The bird looks fun.
A crab! I don't want to be buried in the crab.
Yeah.
That's really fun. There's more.
Is it supposed to go underground, or does it stay above ground with like the feet and everything? Or is that just for like display?
I don't...
We're learning.
I'll thank you, National Geographic. I will get that answer for you.
Okay. And then Feyre, to continue harping on about this, Feyre makes it sound like this is something that they've been doing for a long time. And presumably just like stopped because of the whole Under the Mountain mess. And, you know, the war. But then it's like this is never mentioned at all at any point in Silver Flames. So is it no longer at the House of Wind? Is it at their new house? Is it somewhere else? Do they stop entirely?
Oh, they bury them.
Oh.
They bury them.
Very interesting shaped hole you'd have to make.
Right.
Oh, that's a green onion. I was like, what is that? Thought it was a bird.
Oh Oh yeah, I saw it. Okay.
Fun.
That's a lot of work to just put in the ground.
I appreciate the whimsy though.
Sorry, I was reading. Can you repeat? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was focused on the coffins.
Alright, so I was saying that Farrah makes it sound like this is something that Rhys was doing for a long time and then she joined in on.
Oh yeah.
And it's like presumably that just wasn't happening in the last 3 books because of like the war and Under the Mountain and everything. But then it's like there's no mention of this in Silver Flames. So it's like, is it no longer up at the House of Wind? Is it down at their new house? Do they stop doing this entirely now that he's like done trying to put on a show of look how good I am? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think, because there's a bunch of stuff in these books that just that happens and then we never mention it again, you know? And so I feel like it's one of those things that she just forgot about.
But then all the people in my comments are like, if you've read Throne of Glass or House of Glass or whatever it is, then everything is intentional, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, then I'm going to need us to get more books so I can understand what the intention is. Because it's just like, what is happening?
Throne of Glass came out before this book series. It was written before this book series, I'm pretty sure.
I haven't read it.
I'm pretty sure it was written before, so...
I've not worked my way through the entire Sarah J. Maas catalog.
Oh. Okay.
I intend to. It's on my TBR, I just have not made it there.
I need to put these away. I'm not working on my stuff anymore. I'm getting way too distracted by these National Geographics.
We can just focus on craft time once we get done talking about the book.
That's a good idea, because I'm just like, every 2 seconds, look, what the crap is this?
It's like, you'd think I'd be better at this with all the ADHD coursing through my veins, but it's just like, nope, I can do one or the other.
Yep.
Do we want to just once again talk about how gross it is that Rhys is 12 million years old and Farrah's literally turning 21 in this book? And he and Cassian have a whole conversation about it where even he feels like this is gross. And Cassian's like, but it's love. It's fine. It's different with you guys. It's like, is it though? Is it though? Still feels pretty icky.
Still, yeah. I don't know. I get it's like a whole romance trope of like, oh, this like being that's been around for years and years and years and years falls in love with a person, but when you think about the power dynamics that go with that and just everything, it's just like,
It's like, I get it. Everyone wants to have someone who's like mature and responsible and like feels like they can take care of you, but it's like that. It's like there are ways to accomplish that without them being 10 million years old. Just gotta let it time out. They don't feel like climbing over the table. Sorry, whoever sent an invitation. I couldn't read that far. Ranting about the 10,000 steps. I had a lot to say about that.
Nesta living in a...
in the slums.
A slum.
Even though Farrah came from that shack in the woods. It's like she knows what a slum is.
Yeah. So, I can only imagine, it's because they said, it's a paint and floors, right?
Yeah, that's what Cassian says at the start of Silver Flames. And it's just like, guys.
Yeah. Did it ever say, I tried looking back and I couldn't find it, and maybe it was because because she was renting, right? How much the rent was?
I don't think so.
I mean, I know it's play money, but still, I can imagine it's $24,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a hovel.
Yeah. It's like the slums of Dolores. Needs a paint job. And it's like, this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I was just talking about it the other day on here. It's like, she says this place is a slum.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I talked about this a little bit the other day. And is like so upset that Nesta's living there, and she has supposedly talked to Reese, and it's like he's been trying to figure this out for centuries because the buildings are older than he is, and he wants to fix them up, but it's just so hard to move all those people. It's a logistical nightmare. It's impossible to do. But then at the like Nesta intervention at the start of the next book, she's like, I'm having the building condemned. We're tearing it down and building a homeless shelter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is it going to be comprised entirely of all the other residents of this building that are now homeless?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Because you're tearing the building down?
That's what I'm talking about, is it's literally like this whole big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You'll say this thing, and then it's like, there you go. Like, all
it's
of
like,
that's
what's
gone.
the point of planting this seed if it's not going to go anywhere?
And you're going to tell me for centuries you couldn't figure out something? You couldn't just move them out floor by floor for a little bit and just say, like, here you go, like, or room by room.
Mm-hmm. There's not hotels in Valaris.
Yep.
You couldn't build some, well, weren't a lot of tours, so maybe that makes sense. But
that's the whole thing.
You have an entire kingdom.
A population that is growing. So you're telling me that you're not building any new buildings or anything at the point.
Well, not only that, but he's literally the High Lord of the Night Court. He has an entire kingdom. Yep. You're saying you couldn't figure something out somewhere where these people can go while you paint the building, because that is what has been established as the issue with the building. It needs paint.
Yep. Move them out, fly them up to the House of Wind. Just let them go stay in there. It seems
it's like,
huge.
realistically, you're just painting rooms.
Yeah, just move all their stuff like into the room a little bit more and paint. Yeah. But it's just
like, you don't even need to move people out.
Crap that she doesn't. It was the whole thing. Like, I feel like there's an idea, you have it, and then you drop it out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's like Feyre and those stupid powers. I'm never gonna get over this. It's like, she's so powerful, so powerful, so powerful, and then I'm literally in this major battle that's deciding the fate of the world. Like, the literal fabric of reality is breaking away, and I'm just holding on to the cauldron.
Holding a pot the entire time.
It's like, what is the point? What does any of it mean, Sarah? It's like, I both very much want to and also should definitely not be allowed to be one of those people that, like, interviews authors for, like, book talk and stuff. It's just like, I have so many questions. I have many things I want to discuss, and also I would just, like, be screaming. Shaking her by the shoulders, like, explain yourself! Oh, and adjacent to this, Reese and Feyre talk about all the charities that Feyre is working with and all the charities that they're donating to for Christmas. If Valaris is this perfect utopia of a city,
why do you need charities?
Why do you need so many charities? It's like, yes, there was the singular attack.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's been a year at this point. You all are magical beings.
That can make clothing out of nowhere.
But you can't fix their houses. But also, it's again, skipping ahead a little bit, it's like, it's been a year between the end of the war and this book, and then a year between this book and the start of Silver Flames, and they build their entire McMansion in a year, but they can't fix up all the houses in Valaris in a year with all their unlimited funds.
Well, it's because they're up there. They're higher. They're a higher priority.
You're gonna spend a year doing all these charities.
Another thing that I thought was kind of a missed, dropped the ball point was They don't have like treatments for freaking she was having like her periods and stuff.
Yes, that was my next thing.
Are you serious? Oh my god. So like you're gonna tell me you're gonna have horrible periods and stuff when you literally can just be like, here, use this. What did she get to like bring Reese back to life? The freaking like
the kernel.
Yeah. And it's like, here you go. There's this. You're gonna tell me there's not some like magical toadstool that like would just cure period cramps. And you gotta still deal with that. I just, I don't know. And then don't they all have like a problem with like fertility is an issue, right? Am I making that up? So I don't understand that being an issue as well, because it's like all of the Fae, right? Have an issue with getting pregnant. Yeah. That.
Like everyone supposedly has this issue, but then Farrah gets pregnant immediately.
Yep. And like I guess I understand it, like fundamentally, like you would be living in a world that would not be able to sustain the population if these beings can just make babies nonstop. Yeah. But at the same time, you're gonna tell me they struggle so bad to get pregnant and like to like make babies.
But nobody's figured out any sort of solution to this
in the thousands and thousands of years they've been around. I just I don't.
And all their literal magic.
That can turn humans into Fae and like everything else. It's just really, I don't know. It frustrates me. But like I don't think that's the only book that does that. I think it's just like a plot that has been like laid out for Fae is that they all have fertility issues, and I don't get it. But
yeah. It's also like surprising that Farrah does get pregnant so fast, given that she makes it sound like she is dying during her period, and she like specifically says it's like it's not as bad as Moore has it, it's not as bad as Amon has it, it's not as bad as blah 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 blah. So it's like it sounds like there is something even more going on with her uteral situation. So it's like, how did she get pregnant so fast, and how was that not an issue in her pregnancy? I have to go to the door again. We don't have all our helpers this month.
They left us, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know, because I've read a couple other books about Fae stuff that's like recommended to me, and that now that I think about it, does seem to be a theme. Which, like, again, I get if you have like these beings who live for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and they can just make babies every 9 months, the world would not be able to sustain themselves. But I don't think they're thinking that far ahead.
It's just like, let's connect to women who have fertility issues. So we're gonna pretend this is part of the lore.
Which is weird, because it's like, is this like a curse from like way back in the day that like y'all have just all forgot about because it's just so old? But like also, if it was, you think they'd be working towards that? I don't know. I don't know. Very weird. Very weird. Did you like the Christmas? Did you like the Christmas? Like,
I mean, I did like the Christmas just because I love Christmas. So I was a little sad we didn't read it during Christmas time. We did not think that all the way through.
No. But I don't know how we would have done. Yeah.
It would have been hard.
But yeah, I mean, it was very. It was cute. When you take all of the problems and like just like how everybody treats each other out of it, it's not.
I will say, I give Reese a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think enough people do. I think a lot of people don't, like, hold him accountable. So, it's like, I try to do my part. But I will say, it is good. It is a couple green flags that Reese does make such a fuss about Farrah while she's on her period. It's like, yeah, that is a good sign. More men should. And that he does make such a big deal out of her birthday. Because it's a sign how men will treat you on your birthday. Or women. Any partner. Like, if they're, like, dismissive of, like, days that are important to you in your life, it's just like, you shouldn't be with that person.
No.
It's like, you should want to be with someone who cares about you and wants to celebrate you.
For sure. And,
so I will give him his points when he earns them.
When he earns them. But I think that's just a problem with everything when it comes to, like, things like books and, like, media in general, is you have these morally gray, and he's not even, like, a morally light gray. He's a morally dark gray, you know?
Yes.
Because of, like, all of the stuff he does and allows, and, like, we've talked about this so many times where he literally has, like, the underground city, and, like, it's just, like, horrible, and, like, the conditions are horrible, people are getting murdered, and, like, all blah, 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 all the time. You allow that.
Yeah. It's like, you're the one in charge here. You could, you know, not allow that. Well, you allow everything to continue with the Illyrians and how they treat the women there.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I have to do that. You don't, though. If you're the most powerful High Lord, you can go in there and be like, you're going to disrespect me in my house? Boom! Like, boom! You come to me on the day of my High Lady's birthday and disrespect me? But like, he just, like, the crap he allows, he's not morally gray. It's not, he's not a firm middle point. Yeah. But I think with how everything is right now, and, like, our society in general, just getting breadcrumbs of good treatment is acceptable, and it shouldn't
Unfortunately.
be. You should want somebody who's gonna, like, want to bend over backwards and, like, do good things and stuff like that, and, like, it's just...
As Reese has yet to figure out in his many centuries of life, change will not happen until you demand it to happen.
And he has all the power to do that. And with all of that power, he's just not doing anything. And Farrah, who comes from a place of poverty, severe poverty, where she had to step up as the youngest child and learn to hunt and do all of these things. So while Nesta and Elain did nothing, and their dad, like, should be, like, one of the first people to be like, hey, you idiot. Yeah. Straight up. We're not going to keep letting Illyrians do this. We're not going to keep doing blah, 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 blah. But, like, I don't know. It's really frustrating when you can't find those, like, little cinnamon roll characters that are, like, literally going to, like, move heaven and earth to, like, change and do things. Because he has not changed. No. At all. No. He's still... him, they're still selfish and just doing whatever's best for them at that point. And, like, there could be books out there that are very much like that, but where you do have characters who start out at this point, because, like, I wouldn't be mad if he started out like this and then worked his way to becoming super cinnamon roll man. That would be great.
Mean, think about have you seen Ted Lasso?
I haven't, but I
Jamie Tart from Ted Lasso is such an asshole at the start of that show. And it's like, you see that character progress and learn and change. And it's like, everyone loves a redemption arc. Yeah. Give us what we want.
But, no, he's hot. He's so hot. Ooh. And, like, I think there is definitely a time and a place for a firm hand. There is definitely a time and a place to be... selfish at some points. It is okay at some points to be selfish, but he lives his life fully on being selfish and doing whatever is best for him, and not even like his main group of people. Sometimes it is whatever is best for him. I just I don't know.
Well, best for him and like his little group, because it's like he does sacrifice a lot.
Yeah, but
of himself,
and
he makes a big deal about it. It's like he goes under the mountain to like hide Valaris, blah 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 blah. He holds on to the cauldron with Vera and gives up his life, which is like steal the girl's thunder. Why don't you? By literally dying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, like, and that's the thing too. He does make a very big deal out of it. So, like, a selfless person and a person who like is doing that for the betterment of everybody, you know, wouldn't be like, "But I did this," you know, and he's very irritating.
Yeah. I don't know where it is in here, but what did you think? Did you note it? That when Rhys is talking to Azriel, they agree that they're not going to get the sisters gifts for Solstice. Did that affect you? Because I got mad.
Yeah.
It's like, these girls literally killed the King of Highburn. They are the only reason any of you are alive. Nesta is literally without Nesta, Cassian would no longer be in the series. He would have been dust in the air. But you're not getting them a Christmas present.
Yep.
It's like, what?
I think it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to be funny in a way, because like that's something men would do.
Yeah.
But it's like in this situation with everything they've had go on. Because, like, that is something, like, a guy would do. It was like, no, it's just Valentine's Day. I'm not going to do anything. It's not a big deal. I don't think that's a big deal to them. Like, they saved your asses and everybody else's. But okay.
Just annoyed me. Oh, especially since Elain gets Azriel a present.
Yeah.
It's like, they were thinking of you guys.
Yeah, Miss Elain, who, I don't know, opinions on her, because, like, I get so tired of them just being like, oh, okay, she's just cuckoo crazy all the time.
You know, I've been seeing a few videos around online that were, like, theories about Elain, and it's like, do you think she is as nice as she is, or do you think that she's actually, like, meaner and a little darker, but it's just from, like, Farah's point of view, and she's, like, infantilized Elain so much.
So, because I know, apparently, it's been said that some...
But Nesta infantilizes her, too.
Yeah. But, which I don't get. Which I don't... Out of all of the sisters, like, if anything, like, Farah should have been the one who, like, had that treatment done. Like, Nesta should have been the one who was, like, out doing those things, and instead, like, it's the roles are so weird.
Yeah.
But I know it's been said, because there's more books coming out and everything, that there is a major
character that's gonna like betray everyone.
And like,
and
I
the
know
theories I'm seeing online, like I feel like the crumbs are there for it to be more, but a lot of people are saying it could be Elain, and it's like that would be a very interesting turn for things.
I think it'd be really interesting, like a very, because I don't think a lot of people, because I think people just, they get frustrated with the, oh, Elain is Elain. But I think, because she, her whole thing of like, oh, I don't know who wants me, but I'm just gonna do whatever, because she really was in love with like the guy, I can't remember the guy's name.
What's his face?
Yeah, the human guy. She really was in love with him, but so maybe she like is just plotting her time to be like, you ruined my life. I hear the worms crawling in the dirt, and this is horrible. But like I've talked about this before too.
Well, they have that dinner party where like Amren's talking about how she chose her body, and Elaine's like, oh, well, could you change again? And she's like, you are not turning back into a human.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, could that be where this is going?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. That would be interesting. Sarah J. Maas is watching and just like, write this out! Write this out!
We'll just write the next book with our conspiracy theories.
The amount of power, because they describe all, like, Reese has so much power, and then Feyre has so much power, but then, like, we see crap out of Nesta that it's just like, you're concerning this girl. Like, I don't know. The what's powerful and what's not in this book, and, like, what they do is, like, and we talked about it this time, it is just the levels. I would like to just see her like have a chart where it's like, this is what they can all do, this is what they can all handle, that like, and just like,
it's like Pokemon cards,
literally. And because it's like, I don't understand how like everybody just keeps getting super hurt and dying.
Well, that's like, I keep jumping ahead because I'm like a third of the way through Silver Flames for this month's reading, and it's like they're talking about someone, and it's a cat.
Oh, I was like, what is that? I thought that was a chicken. It was the doorbell. She's running for the doorbell. Oh. What? It came from over there. Did I just hear her weird? Was that the doorbell sound?
Yeah, I think someone messed with it and changed it.
Okay. I was like,
it might have been a chicken. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
It sounded like a chicken. But
it's got farm sounds. What was I talking about?
How they were talking about somebody in the next book.
Oh, they were talking about someone, and it's a death god. Like the bone carver and the weaver and whatever in the lake. But they talk about it, and they specifically say it's like it's a god of death. They cannot die. They choose how and if they die. But it's like, but then in the last book, book 3, it's like the king literally kills the weaver like it's no big deal. But Reese is the most powerful person.
Yep.
It's like, I don't understand any of the like levels of what is happening here.
No, well, I mean that's the whole thing. Like, I just the inconsistencies and just like and like I think so many people are like, oh well, it's a fantasy book.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking about all of these different things and like what every person's able to do, it literally is insane. Like what they are able to accomplish and handle, and then something else they'll do, and it's like something very minor, but it'll wear them out, and like
it just doesn't make sense. Okay. When they go down under the mountain to talk to Moore's dad, what's his face, and Eris. Moore is remembering that day that Eris found her in the woods. And she says, quote, her gift, ... her gift had left her here, broken and bleeding. What does that mean? I thought her gift was truth. Like, did I miss something?
Like, her virginity? Because she was supposed to get married and she gave her... She got super beaten because she slept with...
But she was making it sound like her magic gift, not her secret garden gift. I don't know. I couldn't think of a way to say that.
Her secret garden
I don't know.
Oh.
I just don't want to get in trouble on the internet.
Yeah. Well, I think I thought it was
Yeah.
just like a virginity thing. Because, like, some misogynistic, that's my gift to.
I just feel like there's more going on there, and I'd want to know what it is. Because Eris keeps talking about, more knows why she was left there, more knows what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't understand what's going on.
Like, do you think they're laying pieces of, like, Eris being mated with her? And that's why, like, you know why I left you there and didn't kill you? That's my gift to you, is, like, you're my mate, but...
Maybe.
That would be fucked, though.
Uh-huh. Interesting. I don't know. I feel there's something going on there.
Yeah. Because, like, I feel like...
Because they keep hinting back to it that there's more going on.
So it's either it's gonna come out in one of these later books, and it's either gonna be her or Elain who betrays somebody. And honestly, it would probably, if Moore's gonna do it, it's gonna be because of whatever happened, or Elain because she's gonna try to turn back into a human and like make everybody pay for her turning into a fae.
Yeah. Or maybe both of them.
Yeah, they team up. I just don't.
Because there's something going on with Moore. It's like she's got her secret house out in the middle of nowhere. Which I'll be curious if we ever come back to that point.
I don't think we will. Like, because she just drops. She's laying all of these breadcrumbs, and I see her doing this, but she's done that with other stuff, and I'm really worried that she's going to be like, boom, gone.
Yeah.
Never touching it again. Because she's probably, I was talking about her virginity. I'm like,
sure.
Because, I mean, they are all very, like, misogynistic. And, like, maybe it is that. And that's how she's probably going to spin it. Like, you guys read too much into it. But, like, maybe it's, like, what I said. And it's, like, a situation of, like, you're my true mate.
Maybe. Moving on to the spring court. It's in shambles. Tamlin's a mess.
As usual. Or Tam.
Listen, I know we hate him.
Yeah.
Understandably. Is all this suffering just to make him suffer, like, karmic punishment? Or do we think it is leading to a Tamlin redemption arc? And does he deserve it?
Probably. Well, that's a whole thing, too. Is like, there are so many people who keep saying, like, actually, Lucian isn't Elain's mate. She's, like, actually, Tamlin's, and it's... But he's so obsessed with Feyre that he just doesn't see it. And, like, all of these, like, little, like... But, I don't know. I can see her trying to do that, because it's like, well, he did, like... He did love Feyre.
He also abused her.
Yeah. But, like, we see how she treats Reese.
It's like he's hitting rock bottom right now. And it's like, this is either just, like, karmic justice, because, like, we're getting back at all abusers, or it's like, we're laying the groundwork for a redemption storyline. And it's like, there are other people I'd rather see be redeemed, honestly. Because I just don't think she would handle it in the right way. It's like... Yeah, like, if we're talking about, like, real world abusers, it's like, of course, in an ideal world, abusers would change, and it's like people are capable of change, but they have to, like, want to do it. And it's
the
like,
majority of the time with somebody who has a personality type like Tamlin, they are not going to change.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like we're going to get this storyline of, oh, he's gonna change, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. And so many girls who liked Tamlin and are gonna like this redemption arc are gonna stay with their abusive boyfriends because it's like, oh, well, he's gonna change, he'll be like Tamlin.
Yep. I agree. And then, like, that's a whole thing, too. I feel like it wouldn't be handled, and it's just gonna be like a Tamlin getting with somebody who can put up with his darkness.
Yeah.
And, like, who he is as a person. Like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, somebody having to deal with him being who he is. And, like...
or he'll change for this person.
Yeah.
And it'll be different with this person.
He's still a jerk. Which honestly, out of everybody, like, if it was gonna end up being like a redemption arc and putting somebody with him, Elain would make sense if she is like the very sweet, because she's just very like.
It's like he'd change for her and her perfect sweetness,
and she would just be, oh, it's okay, honey, you're good. Oh, you're murdering and starving your people. Okay, it's okay.
It's like that has such disastrous real world consequences.
Yep.
That she's not gonna think about.
I mean, when you think about that,
if she's even writing this, this is just wild speculation at this point.
When you think about it, though, like, why would she not do that? Because she makes so much money off of these books and like the series and everything else, and just like all of the like officially licensed merchandise that comes from all of the books that she's written. And like, I think for what she's done, like she is a wonderful writer. She can make worlds and you can like see them and they're very detailed and stuff like that. But her pitfall for me, and you too, I think believe, is just like all of the little plot holes and how she handles things. And how she'll build and build and build and build and then boom, it's gone.
And then just pick something else purely for shock value. And it's just like, I'm okay with it being predictable if it makes sense in the story.
Yeah. Like, at some point, like, I think everything has been written at one time, you know, in some version, you know, of something. And you are manipulating your words into becoming something new and original. But when you do things that don't make sense and you do things that especially aren't fitting of your characters and where they came from and who they are as people, and you just let them be horrible for the sake of being horrible because book talk girlies are eating them up. And don't get me wrong, I have a whole file on my phone that is just book talk books. But I think the majority of the people who read those books see those characters and who they are and how they act, and they think it's okay. They don't see it from the lens that we do. And mostly because they don't have to see it that way. And I do understand that. We're going to be quiet for a moment.
River Valley Shelter. Okay, I can't confirm or deny anyone's presence here, but I can take a message and pass it on if we do have anyone here by that name. Okay, if we've got anyone here by that name, I'll pass the message on. No problem. You have a great day. Okay, looking for someone who's not here.
Okay. But anyway, I think that, and I understand why people don't comb through it that way, because it's just easier to be like, oh my gosh, more great character. But like, when you apply that to real world situations and how things are going right now, I mean, there really does need to be a more critical lens on how relationships and individuals themselves in books are portrayed, because I mean it's so important. I mean, we talk about this every time, I feel like, so like I feel like a broken record every time this comes up, but like it's with how engrossed in media younger people are, and like I get it, because like I love TikTok. I am constantly on TikTok, and a lot of it is like I'm getting like educational stuff. Like I love under the desk news and like stuff like that. But like some of it is like mostly trash. I like you know like so some of it is trash because it's like literally it's just a little cat going wee 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 as they're eating. You know, but like. With the younger generations, their attention spans have like totally just crumpled, and that like idea they don't have those critical thinking skills. And I say this as, and like Tori is also like we're educators, like Tori actually went to school and like was a teacher, I go into the Boys and Girls Club in our area and like talk to these kids. So I'm not talking just out of nowhere.
Stop saying something every 2 seconds. Well, like, I can't read that far away, so too bad.
But
say it more, Zoe. Whatever it is. Don't tell me what to do.
Got lost because that movie laughed so much. Oh, what'd they say?
Again, I can't read it. It's too far away.
Too bad. Get what then? Get closer then. Oh.
No. Again, don't tell me what to do.
Jeez. But being people who do work with younger generations and have worked with them, and we see kids here in the shelter too, so it's not like we're away from the issue.
Yeah.
It is one of those things that you see how this consumption of media and like the fact that they're losing the critical thinking skills, and because they are just so used to getting that instant gratification. And well, our director literally talked about it today, because I'm trying to get the kids at the Boys and Girls Club to work towards a pizza party. They do not want to earn those points. They make it so hard for them to earn the points to like get that pizza party, because I'm trying to like teach them like working hard is like something that is worth it. But I mean, we live in a society now that's like an instant gratification thing. Like everybody gets a trophy and your little reward. All of this to say, because I feel like I'm kind of getting off track there a little bit.
I am losing wherever we're going.
But all of this to say, like, with that instant gratification and with that, like, it's easier to consume that and not think about it and just keep taking in, like, oh, this is okay, because you're not using your big brain to pick apart and apply it to real world situations. Because people use media and books and stuff like that to just kind of disappear and turn their brain off. But like,
and even if you aren't thinking about it like critically, the media you consume has an impact on you. It influences you in some sort of way, subconsciously or otherwise, like overtly. It's like it is having an effect on you. So it is to your benefit to think about it critically and to have sources of media that are like positive representations of relationships and stuff. What is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
But, puzzle
it's
piece time?
Puzzle time?
It's puzzle time.
Yay, puzzle time.
I did come back around eventually and make that make sense. Very long-winded, but,
we're professional yappers here.
Scroll up and read that. It's up there.
4 eye sideways. Your glasses ain't doing anything for you. That's correct. Yes, get closer. Too bad. Stop saying every 2 seconds. Make me. Girl, stop saying It's called active listening. Get wrecked. Like, no one's making you be here.
No.
You can feel free to leave if this is not the content for you. Oy.
I don't know. I feel like there's more of that morally gray thing, and I don't get it, because there's enough bad, like, it's so hard to date anyway, and meet somebody now, that's, because I feel like that instant gratification thing is a thing. You swipe on Twitter, you swipe on Bumble, you go and meet up, and then you never, you know what I mean? And I think the idea of these, like, morally gray men, or these, like, not morally gray, these horrible men, you know, of, like, oh, they are so devoted and so into me, and, like, it's appetizing to these people who have a hard time dating, because like I mean there's such like a culture wrapped around like, I don't know how to say this, but I mean you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And they
got no battery.
Oh.
We'll have to talk faster.
Yeah, but they just, I don't know, they're seeing these unhealthy behaviors, and most of it's because like you don't have people who talk about these things and you think it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish there were more like cinnamon roll stories and stuff like that, or like we said, people who like might start this way or start bad and have their a good redemption arc where they're not just like
Jamie Tart is my favorite character on Ted Lasso. I love him. It's like I would love more redemption stories.
Well, I just feel like,
and like Draco Malfoy, I feel like we were halfway there to a redemption arc, and then it's just like, haha, bad guy.
So close, but I think that's why there's so much like Draco Malfoy fanfiction, because like there's a ton of it out there where he has this amazing redemption arc and like makes something of himself. Because, but I mean, I think that's we've talked about JK so many different times on this, and when we haven't even read anything of hers, which is crazy now that I think about it. But she comes up because I mean she is a very popular author. Yeah. And the way that she writes people does affect things, and like with how
so many people relate to these characters. It's like, imagine if you did have someone like Draco Malfoy who started out as a bully and then like actually became a good person. Yeah. It's like, imagine the impact that would have on the world.
Like, I think I read at some point that she was thinking about, because she like lays the groundwork for it, for like her Hermione and Draco to end up together. I would have loved that. Yeah. That would have been amazing. There's a reason so many people are like, and like typing it up. But like it's like the pitfalls of not doing things like that. I do realize like there need to be villains in stories. There need to be people you hate in stories. But when you lay pieces for people to be good people, and I mean that is a thing that happens in real life. But so I get it, but when you you're in a book like this and you make a person likable enough, or they do things like that to like have that redemption arc, and then you just lose it because you throw it away for whatever reason. Yeah. I don't know.
Or like basically half the cast of Schitt's Creek. It's like,
true.
The Rose family starts very unlikable, and then it's like part of what makes that show so endearing is how they change and grow and like become better people over the series. Yeah. Just give me what I want, people. What do I have in my stream of conscious nonsense?
But I think that's another thing too. Like you watch The Office, right? You'll have like characters, because like I think it's the last season before like the show ends. Jim and Pam are like working apart because Jim's trying to work at the office and then also do like the sports thing. Yeah. And he's just being an asshole to Pam, and it's like out of nowhere. That was one of those things where it was like Jim didn't do that. Like Pam was more of the like selfish one in the relationship, I think, at some points. And I love the Jim and Pam relationship. I think they are they definitely have some toxic stuff. Pam especially. Pam has some stuff. But like Jim was always like, whatever you want. Oh wait, I'm fine. Like whatever you need. Like whatever you want, we'll do. And he like went and bought her a house and just said like, here, we're gonna do this. And I don't know, the things that they did in that show with like Jim at the end there, and just making him seem like a jerk and like he didn't care about Pam, like it was very uncharacteristic for him. Yeah. So I mean there are situations where it does go the opposite, where you do have like a very good character and then they do something like boom out of nowhere. But I don't know.
Yeah. Disapprove. Do you also think it's crazy that Moore's gift is the truth, but she's the world's worst gift giver?
Yeah.
Like, that's a funny little thing that it doesn't make sense, but I will accept just the funny on that because that is arguably hilarious.
Mm-hmm. I think that was you tapping your feet. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, yeah. I mean, you gotta have one in every group, a horrible gift giver.
Yeah. Okay, when they're talking to the weaver, not the one that weaves humans, but the tapestry weaver,
Mm-hmm.
she says that her husband died in the war, and Farah is surprised because Reese specifically didn't ask anyone in Valaris to fight. Was that discussed at all? I don't remember that being part of the last book. It's like she says that, I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
I honestly can't remember,
Mhm.
but that doesn't sound like him at all.
Yeah, it's like Reese says so many times. It's like he will do anything to win the war. He is willing to sacrifice his friends. He'll sacrifice himself. He betrayed Moore and teamed up with her dad and Eris, and he's like continually putting the love of his life in harm's way. And he says he'd even work with Amarantha again, but it's like you're not going to ask anyone in Valaris to go fight in the war that will determine like the literal fabric of reality.
Yep.
Make it make sense.
Well, maybe her husband was like, no wait, I'm trying to think timeline wise. This might not make sense. You attack me, I attack you. Time to go.
Yeah.
But, because I mean, I assume he wouldn't be like, no, you can't fight. He'd probably be like, oh, I'm gonna ask one if you want to.
It's like, I know that it's never like mentioned that Valaris has like a standing army since they've been like so isolated for so long, but it's like you are willing to risk everyone that you are close to. But you're not even going to ask the people in your perfect utopia city if they want to go fight. It's like, Illyrians, Darkbringers, that's it. That's all we need. It's like all the people of this perfect utopia not interested in fighting against tyranny.
Which theoretically would be like the people who Illyrians are supposed to be like very strong warriors and stuff like that. So, but theoretically, I mean, these people who are not having to deal with like toxic masculinity and like killing each other if you get jealous and that sort of thing, would be able to like train and like do their things, be well fed, and not have to deal with like yada 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 that the other warriors in his kingdom have to deal with. But like, I don't know. Plot hole again.
So many, especially in this book. I feel like there's almost more in this book.
Well,
because it's so short.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, well, this is fun little personality time, and it's just like, what?
Yeah. So I feel like, especially now, the more we discuss this book, then I'm like, why is this book?
Yeah.
Because that's like the gift thing. You're not making them look good.
Yeah.
I don't know. The plot holes in these books, in this one especially.
Alright, talking about something slightly educational. The Weaver, as she's talking to Farah and Elain, says, when she's talking about her tapestry, I have to create or it was all for nothing. I have to create or I will crumple up with despair and never leave my bed. I have to create because I have no other way of voicing this. It is hard and it hurts, but if I were to stop, if I were to let this loom or the spindle go silent, then there would be no hope shining in the void. Let's talk about the power of art to like help heal from trauma. Because that is like, art therapy is a very real thing. Like creating something is an excellent way to practice self-care. It's
just a way to express your emotions. I mean,
to express something that you might not be like capable of expressing through words.
And like some of the most beautiful paintings or paintings that come from the most traumatic of experiences. And you have some that come from, I mean, like beautiful, like, but I think there's something to be said about these paintings where people are working through trauma and seeing these horrible things and putting brush to canvas.
Yeah.
Because like some of the most well-known paintings are like paintings that like are coming from the like oh gosh the Dark Ages and like that sort of thing, and like famine and revolutions and all of these things that like people were starving, or they were like seeing people get killed in the streets for like simply being, or it was seeing people go through things like genocide and stuff like that. And it's these beautiful pieces that really give you it might not even be like a representation of that very thing. It might be like a symbolism thing. But it's the fact that it can be like something like a lamb with its legs tied, and you can like look at that and see like the innocence being like portrayed with the lamb, and like how it's being tied and like prepared for sacrifice. I can't remember what that painting is, but it's like a I think it's a religious painting now that I think about it. I think it's about Jesus, I think. But I think it might be named something Jesus. I can't remember. But it's about like sacrifices and stuff like that, and like it's like evokes so much emotion in you, because I mean it's just such a beautiful painting, and it's not showing like Jesus himself, you know, but I mean you get all of these different things from just like a picture, you know. So I mean, Degas and stuff like that is very like dark paintings most of the time, and I really like his work. But a lot of his paintings too, like the longer he goes on, like because he was dealing with blindness and was like a very angry man because of his blindness and stuff like that. And you see a lot of his work get progressively more dark as he starts going crazy because he's driving himself insane. And like some of his most like beautiful works that are most well known are like the ones where he was like a hermit in his house hiding. But very, very interesting to look at. The paintings that come from trauma. And like there are whole studies of like how the brain works to process things. Like we
well, touching back on like what you were talking about, like putting like your trauma on canvas and like expressing it that way, it's like we know that traumatic memories are stored differently in your brain. So it's like you may not be able to verbalize them. So like using another medium is a really helpful way for you to like access those memories and to process it in a healthy way. Theoretically.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, there's with children, especially. I mean, there's a whole thing of like, you give children toys to like express themselves, or like you look at what they're drawing, and kids especially when you see the younger ones, they might not have even the vocabulary to say like this is happening to me. But they're depicting it on paper. One of the most telling things was I went to the Holocaust Museum in DC, and I mean that whole museum is very like you're going through and you're seeing all of these things, and like they were able to like have children's drawings. That was the very end of the museum, and you see when they first were brought to camps, and like they told people all the time like these camps are like for XYZ, and like made it not to be this horrible scary thing. And these children who like might not understand the gravity of the situation, their pictures were like really colorful, things looked happy, and like as things went on and they were in the camp longer and longer, you start seeing the guards look less human and more like you start seeing things like really sharp teeth and these harsh lines and stuff like that. because they started realizing like these are not good people. These are like people who are going to hurt me or like hurt people around me and are doing these bad things. And like a lot of the time with children, if they're like trying to express something as scary, that like you'll see them like do the sharp teeth thing and like more harsher lines when everything else is like more rounded. And it was just really, it was really sad. That museum made me cry most of the way through. But I have a very soft spot for children, and seeing those things and like the fact that you have those things and are able to display it in that way to show how trauma is processed and how understanding, even if they might not understand the full gravity of the situation, that they're able to express that on paper. And you can just see like some of them were so just like visceral and like they're coming from like these small children. They weren't a lot of them weren't even like very detailed. Like it was like little stick figures and stuff like that. But like you could see like the representation of like them, like that child and maybe like a family member versus this like huge lurking bulking figure that was a party member, because I don't want to say that word, but a party member, and they have these like sharp teeth and like the super scary and like looming over them and like the very sharp lines, and like some of them were the really detailed stuff, and like those I mean were very telling too. But I think there's almost something to be said about the ones that are, you can tell are coming from like small children, and just they're still able to evoke that much emotion, and tell you what's going on, even if you don't have them in front of you, able to tell you like what they were thinking about when they were drawing those things. But yeah, side tangent over.
Excellent TED Talk, Zoe. I mean, there's no good segue from that. So I'm just like, look at the notes, see where we're going to bounce to next. What time is it? 3:27. I don't think we're going to have time for our crafting.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It was a nice thought. And everyone gets to enjoy this shot on the table. What was I talking about in so many bullet points here? Okay, when Farah talks to Amren about Nesta, Farah is so worried because it's been months and months and Nesta is not back to normal after being traumatized. And it's just like everyone processes trauma in different ways. And it's like kind of the whole point of the next book is like Nesta is processing in a very unhealthy way.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not a moral judgment on her, but it's like people keep acting like it is. But it's like Farah's going through all this stuff herself. Farah literally in book 2 is like suicidal and is like wildly depressed and really like not that much better off than Nesta was.
Well, but that's the thing too, is like she just pushes.
But she's so judgmental about Nesta and how she's like isolating.
Yeah.
When it's like the only reason you were not in her exact same position is because you were getting like pulled between all these different courts.
Yep. And I feel like her trauma wasn't, I feel like that was the missed opportunity, because like, I mean, how do you have, there was a way to handle that, but also with how she does with how Sarah J. Maas does things, I mean, she would have had to take a lot more time to.
It's like Farah was in such a dark place that it should have realistically taken her much longer. But it's just like, let's just keep throwing them in crisis after crisis after crisis, and like let them use sex instead of coping skills.
Which, like, at some point, though, like, realistically, anybody who's going through that, because you can, like, be functionally depressed. You can go and you can push through, but at some point, you are going to get burnt out and you're going to crash out. And
it's like, that's, I feel like where this book, I think, maybe should have gone. It's like, it really could have been a point for us, like, there has been so much going on, let's take a minute and process it. But it's like, instead, it's like, we're gonna have Christmas and paint about it instead of actually addressing anything.
Yep, and I feel like that's probably why she's just like, Nesta's already a very complicated character.
Yeah.
But I think that's why she's dogging so much on, like, oh, Elain, like, can't stand, like, the worms and the dirt and blah, 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 blah. But then you have already set the example that Feyre was, like, absolutely fine and, like, adjusted perfectly.
Yeah.
It was good. So, I don't know. It's contradictory stuff. And, like, I know people are going to be like, it's a fantasy book! But
it's like, Feyre spends so much time talking about, in this book, how she is having such a hard time, and how Rhys is having such a hard time, and how painting is helping her sort through her feelings, but it's like, you're not able to apply that same sort of empathy to Nesta and who has gone through the same things you have gone through here.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, well, I'm doing better, and she's not, so she's bad. Okay, silly side tangent. For Feyre's birthday, Rhys gets her a sketchbook with her initials on it. But she said before that she hasn't gone by Archeron since she went out in the woods and started hunting, and that she like does not go by her family name. So, and we, as far as I can remember, have not established a last name for Rhys. So what initials did he put on there?
It's probably just F.A.
Is it F.A. or is it just the letter F?
Like, Rhys just goes by Rhys like Cher goes by Cher. He's got that much of an ego. It has to be F.A.
Yeah.
It has to be, because, like, or
does Rhys have a last name and I'm just not remembering it?
I don't think so, because they...
Is it like a Prince of Wales, like Harry Prince of Wales situation?
Yeah,
Harry
but
Wales?
is he gonna be like
Feyre,
Rhys
and Knight?
Yeah. Like, his last name's Wind, that's why it's the House of Wind. Rhys Wind. But I don't know, it has to be F.A. Which is weird. But
when did she start going by Archeron again?
Yeah.
It's like she specifically told him that she doesn't go by that name.
Yeah. Maybe she embraced herself again, and that was like just a muted point. And they never touched it again. But like, when do you hear about fantasy characters having last names, or it's not like something funky like Bumblebutt of Twinkledom? Here you go, going to save the kingdom. Like, I don't know.
Because Elain gets her something, like, paintbrushes or something, too, that also have her initials on it. And it's just like, when did we all start having so many initial things?
Yeah. And then,
like,
did you relate to that? Did you relate to that? Because everybody, like, her whole personality is not just painting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, every holiday or when we do something, Tori just gets crochet stuff.
Yeah. Oh, crochet.
And she does wonderfully at crochet. That or, like, needlepoint. And you do wonderfully at them, but that is not your whole personality.
Like, gift giving is hard when you don't know a lot about a person. And it's like, it is something that I, like, do a lot and talk about a lot. But it's like, I do and talk about a lot of things. It's just interesting to see, like, what sticks with people.
Yeah, it is. Well, like, I tried so hard because, like, I I found stuff that was really cute. That was neat. But I was like, you literally get gifted. Like, I'm sure you have stuff that is just in a drawer somewhere that you haven't touched.
I have a whole tub of things.
Because you get so many of them. And then, like, I was like,
I'll get to them eventually.
Yeah, but, like, that was my whole thing, is, like, this is really cute, and I think she would like it, but you have so much, because I know you have so much, because you're not constantly over here doing needlepoint and crochet.
I don't have time
unless
anymore.
You have, like, a project you're doing for somebody, but that's why I was like, I'm going to get you the Kindle book turner.
Yes. I appreciate that. I've been using it all week, trying to zoom through Silver Flames before my Libby loan ran out, which I think it has ran out now, so I think I'm just going to have to buy the book. I didn't get done in time. I've been busy.
At least you got the majority of the way through. They don't have it at the library, or is it on, like, such a wait list?
It's, like, got a wait list.
Oh,
so I wouldn't be able to get a hold of it again before the end of the month. It's fine. What was I talking about? Oh, we talked about that already.
The initials and everything.
No, about our theories about Elain.
Oh, yeah.
I went on a side tangent within my notes. Okay, for Solstice, Cassian gets more lingerie because she specifically asked him, like, told him that's what she wanted. And it's like, I get that they're all close, but also it's really weird to be getting your friend that you've slept with and that caused her to nearly die, nailed to the ground out in the woods, lingerie. It's like,
Well, I think that's just, okay, because we talked about this. I feel like more just is a constantly, like, come on. Like, you know you want me, but I don't want you.
Yeah.
Come on. No. And, like, I think that's just, like, a power play thing for her, to be like, ooh, I bet he's, like, getting super excited looking and finding me the perfect set of lingerie.
Yeah.
And, like, that's a whole thing with her. Like, the way she treats him makes me so mad, because he is so down bad, and it's just, like, just... I don't know. You ask him to do this monumental thing for you. You put him through that, and you know that he is so dedicated to her, and, like, in his... Well, like...
Who are you talking about right now?
What do you mean?
Are you talking about Cassian or Azriel?
Lingerie.
Lingerie, yes.
Yeah.
Cassian is the one that gets her the lingerie.
Yeah. Oh, Az is...
No, Az is the one that's obsessed with her.
Okay, sorry. Never mind.
Zoe, have you been reading our book club books?
I have.
Are you sure?
Sorry, I don't... My mind went somewhere else. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. I was like...
I mean, it is a messed up relationship, because it's like, this is someone that you are, like, constantly sexually teasing, despite the fact that it's like, you slept together once, it caused you to have the most traumatic experience of your life. But you're going to keep flirting with him to keep your other boyfriend from realizing that you're never going to be with him.
Yeah. Sorry, I just...
Like, it's all very messed up.
I kind of mold them together when it comes to her. I'm not going to lie. You saw that thought process, because they're both, like, it's weird. The whole dynamic with both of them.
Yeah.
And
it's
her
all wild.
is really weird.
Which I'll be interested to see what will happen in the next book that gets written without, like, after, like, without saying anything too spoilery, the events of Silver Flames.
Yeah.
It's like, now that one of them is off the market, it's gonna happen.
I don't know. With how she is, I feel that might be probably what Sarah J. Maas can be like, oh, she's jealous. She decided, no, thank you. Sorry, my mind. Because if she's doing one thing to the other, it's for the other, you know?
Yeah.
And they just kind of like, if something's happening, they're both there. They're like, I don't know. I don't know.
They talk about Nesta's depression. the fire being a trauma trigger, that's an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, triggers can come from anywhere. Okay. When they're at the cabin, Farah tells Reese she wants to change the eye tattoos on her palm. Since you're no longer using them to snoop on me, I figured they could be something else. Were the tattoos snooping? It's like, I know she thought they were snooping, but I was under the impression in the last few books that it's like, once we realized they were mates,
it was the mate connection.
That it was like the mating bond.
Yeah.
Is what that mental bond was. And she just like was like, because she didn't realize they were mated, just thought that it was the tattoos.
I think it's the mating bond, and she's just assuming and equating it to that.
Yeah.
Because Tamlin thought that too, right?
Yeah. But then Reese admits that he was snooping, and like, obviously, but it's like, again, was he snooping through the tattoos or through the bond?
Well, it's not bond, because he's like admitted so many times it was the bond, because she didn't have any walls up.
Then what was the point of changing the tattoos? Why didn't he just tell her, no, I wasn't snooping through the tattoos. That was the mating bond, dummy.
Well, why would he? I think it's just a power thing.
He never tells her anything.
Yeah, I think it's just a power thing.
Tamlin again, who cares? More secret house, we talked about that. No, we've talked about the charities. Okay, Farah's charity art studio, art therapy class. From the donated building of the artist that died, which is insane. But it's like, what she is doing is good. Art therapy, factually good. But can I just say that it is insane that in the room that each wall has a different color and they're green, pink, red, and blue. That is an objectively ugly room. It's like, what?
Well, like, we've talked about...
But you're expecting everyone to come in and be like, yes, this is who I want to teach me art.
Well, that's
this person who can't see that these colors obviously clash.
Well, I love the theory, because we've talked about it before, that she's just a really horrible artist, and they're all like, yeah. You love it. You love it.
Just some objectively ugly walls.
I hope my phone doesn't die. It was on 10% a few minutes ago.
It is nice that her classes are specifically for children, though. And to, like, help them process and go through things. Because, like, going back to what you were talking about, it's like, processing anything like that is difficult enough. But especially as you are a child and, like, your brain's still forming and it's like you don't have the vocabulary for it, it's like, good. We will give her points where they are due, despite her ugly, ugly wall choices. And questionable artistic abilities.
Well, like, I'm trying to think, because, like, if it's a true red, that sets the whole tone off. Because if it was, like a pastel-y situation, maybe it'd be hard.
Yeah. It's like the pink, green, red, and blue. I feel like that would work.
But the red sets it off.
Yeah. Or you could even do green, red, and blue. But it's like the red and the pink, it's like, you've got to get real specific with your shades there. And it's like, there are so many easier options. Yep. You could have gone so many other directions.
Sarah J. Maas, get better consultants for your books, because whoever told you that was a good choice lied to you, Miss Girl.
Unless it is supposed to be another hint that she actually is really bad at art and doesn't understand color theory.
On her deathbed, and she's like, she was a horrible artist.
It's like, that's why all the shows keep getting killed. and why this will never see the light of day on a television screen, because it's just like no one will ever be able to figure out, is she good at art or bad?
It's like this beautiful TV show, and she's painting, and she flips it around, and she's like, I'm painting you, Reese. It's a stick figure with like super like weird circles for his muscles. Keep going. Look, yes, you talk, and I'm gonna draw.
I mean, I know the show